2 words whispered in a garden changed everything, because those words are the exact lever that can pry you out of the grind you live in. You know that feeling, a chronic drain, a loop of fear and shame that keeps repeating, nightmares that leave you exhausted, doors that close no matter how hard you fight. That isn't just bad luck or a weak temperament. It's the signature of something in your life that's been harvesting your pain. Those 2 words are a direct, practical way to stop the harvest. This knowledge didn't come from headlines or modern self-help. It comes from texts and teachings, the official story buried. The hidden gospels and secret records, the authorities cut out of the story for a reason. The ancient teachers who saw how the human mind could be caged spoke plainly about a prison of consciousness. The part of your history they erased is exactly the part that tells you how to escape. They hid it because, once known, it makes the machine that feeds on you confused and powerless. The core of the reveal is simple and brutal. Identity is the battleground. You've been taught to live as your wounded self, your fears, your guilt, your memories, and that's the signal the predators latch onto. The tool that undoes that signal is not a mantra with fluff. It's a declaration of being, I am. Used properly, spoken from the unshakable place inside you that isn't the hurt. Those 2 words, sever the connection the parasites use to bleed you. Say them from your source, and the fear-based programs lose their hold. Your nights stop being the main avenue of attack. Your life stops being farmed. This isn't mysticism for entertainment. It's an operational fact you can test tonight. What I'm about to show you is how the trap works, why they rely on your self-definition, and exactly how to use the 2-word key so the extraction stops and you stop returning to the same broken place. First, we must name the enemy and see the wiring. Then you'll learn the precise way to speak the words so the machine can no longer find you. You stand at the edge of a revelation that was not meant for ordinary eyes. On the night of betrayal, a code was handed over, not as comfort but as a practical map to undo the constraints placed by the Archons, the entities that bend reality through lies and limitation. Your experience of fear and protective calculation is exactly what they feed on. Recognizing that pattern is the first tactical move. You must see how your vital breath, attention, and emotional output become currency for a system of parasitic pressure. The code is compact and operational. Recognize the pattern, name the manipulative impulse, reroute the energy away from reactive cycles, and reinforce the monadic anchor that holds sovereignty. Naming the interference disempowers it because Archons rely on unconscious surrender. Rerouting involves redirecting vital breath and intention into a closed vessel, so the parasitic pressure cannot siphon output. Building a frequency shield is not mystical decoration. It is a disciplined routine of posture, breath cadence, and refusal to invest attention in manufactured scarcity. Start by testing daily experiences for signs of engineered interference, sudden escalation of guilt, disproportionate outrage, a sense that events are designed to distract and harvest your vital response. When those triggers appear, pause long enough to rate the resonance between your feeling and the situation. If the feeling amplifies without proportion, your vessel has a breach. Close that breach by contracting attention inward, tightening the vessel boundary, and re-establishing the monadic anchor so sovereignty returns, and the parasitic pressure loses its purchase. Accepting the state of chosen vulnerability is decisive. Vulnerability is the map, not a failing. Knowing that you are exposed reveals where power can be reallocated. Instead of seeking consolation, execute the strategy offered: a simple ritual of 3 measured vital breaths, deliberate contraction of the vessel, and a spoken assertion of sovereignty that realigns intention. That sequence does not erase pain. It converts the emotional output into a controlled current that no longer fuels the Archons, and instead powers an internal recalibration toward freedom. Long-term work requires steady reinforcement of a frequency shield and daily tending of the monadic anchor, so interference cannot find habitual pathways. Examine relationships and transactions for energy leak points and refuse to amplify narratives that feed archons. Use posture and breath cadence as tools to hold the vessel stable when challenges come. When rumors or crises seek to trigger reactive loops, default to containment. Observe without feeding and redirect vital breath into repair. Sovereignty grows with these habits, diminishing parasitic pressure over time. When others begin to show signs of awakening, testing is necessary because archons replicate liberation as bait. Check resonance before sharing practices. A true ally respects vessel boundaries, does not seek to harvest immediate emotion, and accepts pauses without pressuring for confession. Exchanges of strategy must be calibrated through frequency checks and mutual reaffirmation of sovereignty. Share the code sparingly and only when monadic anchors are strong. Loose sharing creates avenues that parasitic pressure exploits, turning liberation into another vector of interference. Urgency is practical, not theatrical. Every moment of unexamined emotional output feeds the apparatus. Move through the steps consistently. Recognize manipulative patterns. Name the interference aloud. Reroute vital breath into a sealed vessel. Reinforce the monadic anchor, and sustain a frequency shield that repels parasitic pressure. Test exchanges before revealing strategy, and allow sovereignty to be the measure of readiness. The code is a set of usable actions. Apply it with resolve, and your position as an elected vessel shifts from prey to operative in dismantling the system. You have felt the tightening around your chest when fear arrives, the relentless worry that seeks shelter as protection. Those sensations are not random. They are the registration of parasitic pressure operating at an adjacent register. Archons are not mythical devils, but entities that feed on the density of human suffering, extracted through recurring beliefs that suffering is inevitable. Recognizing that these pressures are external, not simply personal failure, is the first practical revelation that frees attention to find a way out. When life repeats patterns of pain and return to familiar struggle, the mechanism of enforced re-embodiment is at work, a harvesting loop that recycles souls through lives where dense emotions are produced and consumed. Fear and despair are energy forms to these entities. Every defensive posture and every agreement with inevitability becomes a funnel. Your search for protection often solidifies those funnels, because protective rituals without awareness feed the same machine. Understanding this architecture shifts focus from blame toward tactical dismantling of the energy channels. Watch for patterns that reveal interference, sudden drops of vitality, compulsive actions that loop, stories that always return to victimhood, or relationships that consistently feel like battlegrounds. The vessel reacts with heaviness and constriction as parasitic pressure increases. Dreams and waking images repeat specific fear signatures. These are not mere coincidences, but markers of energetic bookkeeping. Note when intense emotions arrive immediately after exposure to certain environments or conversations. That timing is often the clearest diagnostic of an external manipulator at work. Beliefs are the architecture through which parasitic pressure moves, and many cultural teachings covertly preserve the harvest by praising struggle as noble and suffering as unavoidable. When you assent to those stories, the archons find open channels to harvest emotional frequency. Reclaiming sovereignty begins with questioning the inherited assumptions that keep those channels open. Small experiments of refusing automatic assent, a solitary practice of monadic anchor, and a deliberate use of vital breath to interrupt old narratives create micro-breaks that loosen the hold and reveal alternative outcomes. Begin with a concise protocol that can be used daily. Center attention on the monadic anchor, a single felt point that grounds the monad. Then draw vital breath deep and slow to fortify the vessel. Sense the perimeter of your frequency shield and tighten it where leakage occurs. Name without arguing any emotion that appears, and then refuse the contract that would convert it into ongoing fuel. Limit time in places that spike parasitic pressure, and choose conversation that supports sovereign thinking, rather than feeding old loops. As these practices stabilize, expand attention to systemic patterns that have been normalized, relationships that implicitly demand sacrifice, institutions that reward perpetual struggle, and personal habits that reenact old agreements. Conduct regular interference detection. Note where energy is drawn away, and then apply an intentional severing ritual, brief and precise, to close those conduits. Maintain the vessel with regular vital breath sessions and daily scans of the frequency shield. Gradual redistribution of attention toward sovereign choices erodes the Archons' economy and reorients life toward durable freedom. Emancipation is not sudden but cumulative. Each moment of refusing a limiting belief chips away at the scaffold that allows forced return into suffering cycles. Keep the monadic anchor active through ordinary tasks. Let vital breath be the habitual reset, and treat the frequency shield as non-negotiable. When parasitic pressure attempts to reassert, respond with concise boundary enforcement and refusal to feed. Over time, patterns of enforced re-embodiment lose coherence, and the energetic economy collapses, making room for sustained sovereignty and clearer movement through life. You feel the pressure of fear, the pull of old wounds, and the constant search for a place of safety. Your experience comes through two distinct centers: the soul, heavy with emotion, memory, and limitation, and the spirit, an unchanging essence beyond those tides. The soul occupies the vessel and carries reactive patterns. The spirit is the monadic anchor that remains untouched. When identification slips toward the soul, external Archons find a point of entry and use that opening to draw energy. When a reaction rises in you, the Archons ride that wave as parasitic pressure, converting your turmoil into a usable flow. Their method is interference, subtle suggestions, amplified fear, and repeated patterns that keep the vessel agitated. Your vital breath is weakened, while the soul's stories multiply, creating a low frequency that they can harvest. Learn to notice the hallmark signs: the sudden tightening, the looping thoughts, the drain after certain encounters, and you gain the first leverage to resist and reorient your field. Most of the time, identification with the soul happens because the vessel learns to trust feeling over essence. Memories and pain claim authorship of who you are. The spirit becomes background noise. To reverse that habit, shift attention to the monadic anchor and breathe with intention, using your vital breath to tighten connection. Name the sensation aloud or mentally, then assert sovereignty, a clear notice that you are not the looping emotion. Building that frequency shield takes repetition, small acts that recalibrate where your energy settles. The spirit is not fragile. It is immutable and unbound by the soul's patterns. When you anchor to that essence, the low vibrational feed collapses because there is nothing to harvest. You practice liberation by withdrawing habitual attention from old narratives and consciously redirecting your vital breath into the monadic anchor. Visual or felt separation can be practical. Feel the vessel's history recede as your center affirms sovereignty. Each redirection severs a thread of access and weakens the constant parasitic pressure that once counted on your identification. Before entering situations that trigger you, prepare the vessel with a simple sequence. Steady the vital breath, affirm your sovereignty in one sentence, and engage the frequency shield as a practical boundary. Expect interference. Plan responses that keep attention anchored rather than scattered. If a conversation pulls old pain, pause the breath, name the intrusion, and return to the monadic anchor. Over time, those preemptive moves shorten the career of any parasitic pressure and teach the environment that your energy is no longer available for harvest. Archons scale their influence by reproducing patterns across many vessels, shared fears, habitual reactions, and normalized interference. Each time a vessel reacts, the collective grid reinforces the harvest. To counteract that expansion, hold steady in sovereignty and let the frequency shield be visible through consistent action. Your steady vital breath and refusal to feed low vibration create resonance lines others can sense and, without public proclamation, begin to mirror. Consistency undoes normalization. A single anchored vessel disturbs the pattern and opens space for collective reorientation. The core secret is simple. Identifying with the spirit severs the supply. When you habitually return vital breath to the monadic anchor and enforce a frequency shield, the Archontes pathways close. This is not a one-off trick, but a continuous practice of sovereignty in daily choices, language, and attention. As the vessel learns to sustain the anchored posture, parasitic pressure fades and clarity returns. Commit to that steady return, and the energy that once fed suffering becomes available for purposeful living. Free from the drain of external interference, you have felt that tightness in your chest, the small voice that chips away at confidence and identity, and you have looked for shelter from it. What is happening is not merely internal judgment, but an installed silence, a manufactured interference pushed into your vessel by archontic forces to keep vital breath shallow. That quiet isn't absence. It is a parasitic pressure that speaks as you, claiming ownership of thought and feeling so energy flows into its pattern instead of returning to your monadic anchor. When that inner critic rises, receive it like an unexpected signal, not a true part of your sovereign core. The archontic noise uses repetitive narratives to drain clarity and keep your frequency muted, creating loops where doubt and shame seem automatic. You will notice repetitive lines, sudden identity collapses, and emotional relapse after moments of peace. These are marks of external interference, not failures of your vessel. Recognizing this distinction is the first technical act toward reclaiming sovereignty and stopping parasitic pressure. The practical secret is deceptively simple. Practice intentional disidentification by allowing thoughts to be heard while refusing to give them authority. When a critical sentence arrives, label it as interference, note its tone and repetitive gait, and return attention to vital breath and the monadic anchor. This retrains your vessel to reroute energy away from archontic loops. Build a frequency shield by choosing where attention lands. The shield is not armor against life, but a structural reorientation that keeps parasitic pressure from claiming your vibrational field. Make this practice daily and brief, so it becomes an automatic defense rather than a rare ritual. Start each day by anchoring to your monadic core through a few steady cycles of vital breath, then sweep attention through recent moments and mark any invasive patterns as interference. When intrusive loops are observed, shorten their reign by renouncing engagement, re-establishing the frequency shield, and moving energy back into your vessel's center. Consistency converts technique into sovereignty, dissolving programmed pathways into optional responses instead of default suffering. As parasitic pressure diminishes, a practical peace returns and perception sharpens. Your choices become less reactive. Clarity emerges because energy is no longer siphoned into accusation and self-erasure. With steady practice, a more awakened awareness operates from the monadic anchor, and a clearer vessel lets true intention guide action. This is not mere belief, but a measurable shift in how attention flows and how identity holds. Daily application leads to life adjustments that reflect inner alignment, rather than the old programming of survival and smallness. Recognize this as a psychological war in which influence seeks to fragment your vessel and harvest dense energy for its own continuity. Active resistance is practical. Set immediate boundaries within your attention, withdraw consent from intrusive narratives, and reallocate energy to your monadic anchor. Train the frequency shield to become the first reflex, so siphoning attempts meet a steady, unyielding field. This is not confrontation with outer beings, but an internal reconfiguration that deprives interference of access and returns potency to your true center. Begin now with small disciplined acts that reaffirm your sovereignty. These are not optional luxuries, but technical necessities for anyone choosing clarity. Each refusal to identify with the archontic voice weakens its pattern. Each rerouting in vital breath and monadic anchor strengthens presence. Over weeks, muscle memory forms in attention, and the frequency shield shifts from effort to default. The profound secret revealed here is that freedom from archontic programming is practical and repeatable. Sovereignty is a daily construction that yields a life aligned with the true vessel. You feel the pull of fear and the search for protection every time life tilts unexpectedly, and that pull is what Archons exploit to anchor you to the cycle of rebirth. The secret to breaking that cycle begins by recognizing that what you learned as karma is a constructed layer, an imposed contract that translates guilt into recurring lives. Read this trap clearly by spotting simple markers: sudden parasitic pressure, habitual forgetfulness of purpose, and compulsive blame aimed at your own vessel. When karma becomes distortion, it functions as a recycling mechanism rather than moral truth. Archons feed on the energy of recycled mistakes, and the so-called light at the end of the tunnel is often a cunning imitation designed to shepherd returning vessels back into bindings. You can resist by stabilizing your vital breath and refusing immediate surrender to that lure. Strengthen a frequency shield around your awareness, question the familiar tug toward guilt, and hold the monadic anchor, the core that remembers original sovereignty. Begin by cataloging patterns that repeat across lives and relationships, not to judge, but to illuminate the mechanism at work. When guilt or parasitic pressure rises, observe it as interference rather than a true verdict on your vessel. Use deliberate sequences of breath and focused attention to reroute energy away from accusation and back into your center. State internally that sovereignty is present and will not consent to recycling. Each refusal chips away at the contract and weakens Archons' capacity to retake a surrendered spark. As memory returns, practical knowledge replaces vague longing. The instruction of Jesus points toward this recovery. Free the soul, and the field around it shifts. Anchor to the monadic memory by naming essential truths in the vital breath, by refusing to replay inherited guilt, and by refusing transactional bargains with light that ask for surrender. Each reclaimed soul alters the local frequency, creating a cumulative effect that loosens Archons' grip on the wider human vessel and increases collective possibility for liberation. Practice sovereignty in ordinary choices. Before reacting, check whether a decision comes from habit or from the monadic anchor. When faced with guilt-based offers of correction, close the transaction by drawing the vital breath inward and affirming a frequency shield. Notice when interference amplifies blame and do not echo it back. Instead, redirect that energy to service of your core. Small, daily refusals, declining guilt, refusing to confess to a fake tribunal, compound into a practical barrier that Archons cannot penetrate without consent. When endings come, there will be pressure to accept an alluring light promising quick return and safety. Learn the cues of deception: an immediate compelling pull, conditional promises, or a sense that memory must be erased. Hold the monadic anchor and run the vital breath test. If surrender requires relinquishing sovereign choice, it is false. Refuse smooth transition that asks for guilt as currency. Choosing to keep conscious presence fractures the recycling loop and allows true liberation to enter without barter. You are not merely a passive passenger within inherited cycles. Each deliberate act of refusal rewrites a part of the contract. Start with 3 commitments. Breathe into the monadic anchor every morning. Cast a frequency shield when encountering guilt or parasitic pressure, and refuse any bargain that demands your memory. Share this method through example, not argument, and watch local fields change. The instruction of Jesus encourages the same radical sovereignty. Free yourself, and, in doing so, accelerate the liberation of many vessels around you. You carry a history of fear and interference that often feels unavoidable. As if a pressure shapes choices and narrows thought, you search for protection and a way back to an honest center. A simple command is offered. Pronounce Yo Soy as a monadic anchor, a name without adjectives that severs parasitic pressure and resumes sovereignty. Speak it with your vital breath, clear intent, and without qualifiers. The movement is practical, repeatable, and meant to disentangle the vessel from layered programming. When yo soy is stated without qualifiers, you stop feeding a wounded soul story and instead align with unconditioned presence. Certainty removes doubt, which is a channel for interference. Stand or sit as a stable vessel. Draw your vital breath, and let the syllables resonate in the monadic anchor. Do not add labels, roles, or emotional tags. They reattach fragments. Each clear declaration builds a frequency shield around intention, reducing parasitic pressure and allowing visible changes in how personal power distributes inside and beyond the body. The Archons rely on repetition of identification to maintain cycles of suffering. Their leverage is a narrative loop inside the vessel. Each precise declaration of yo soy acts like a reset command, interrupting that loop and presenting a different operating frequency. Dormant sequences of DNA respond not mystically, but by resonance. When aligned, they begin to reconfigure habitual patterns at a cellular and energetic level. Repeat with intention and pause to listen inwardly. The body and its instruments will report shifts in tension, constraint, and the reach of sovereignty. Preparation matters. Before each declaration, anchor the vessel with 3 deliberate cycles of vital breath, allowing the monadic anchor to settle. Adopt a posture where the spine is straight and the chest open. Soft gaze forward or closed, whatever keeps focus inward. On the final exhale, speak yo soy clearly and without embellishment. Then hold a brief silence to let the frequency integrate. Practice daily in short sessions, building from single syllables to sustained resonance as confidence and sovereignty increase in measurable ways. Obstacles will appear as voices of fear, doubt, or familiar identity claims that try to reroute attention. Name them briefly as interference and avoid feeding them with qualifiers. When a memory or label surfaces, respond immediately with yo soy rather than explanation. The short, unadorned phrase deprives parasitic pressure of its fuel. Over time, the frequency shield thickens, and those intrusions lose traction. Keep attention on the felt change in the vessel, the subtle loosening where previously tight stories held sway. Every clear declaration contributes beyond personal borders. Repeated resonance alters nearby fields and invites dormant codes to awaken in collective patterns. Your commitment becomes a local recalibration, a monadic anchor that informs others without force. Use the command with conviction, because scattered or casual use creates mixed frequencies that dilute impact. Hold responsibility for the vibration sent. When sovereignty is embodied, a frequency shield naturally extends and offers others the option to recognize their own monadic anchors. The practice scales by consistency and measured intent. Begin in small, committed increments and track what changes within the vessel. Note loose intentions, shifts in feeling, and clearer access to inner authority. Refuse to adorn the phrase, no labels, no explanations, so that the command remains a pure conduit to source. Use it to repair habitual fractures and to recalibrate relationships to power, always from a place of sovereignty rather than reaction. Prepare the vital breath, steady the posture, and when ready, pronounce yo soy with conviction. Repetition will make permanence public and private. You have felt at times a creeping fear, an urgency to find protection that ordinary measures never fully provide. Listen closely. There is a simple, ancient technical maneuver that transforms your presence and creates a frequency shield around your vessel. The practice is to anchor your monadic presence in the declaration yo soy, so that your vital breath aligns with a sovereign waveform. When you settle that phrase into your field, interference falls away, and parasitic pressure loses its line of supply, making you less visible to external control. When your attention is diffused, your field becomes a receptor that unknowingly feeds the apparatus of control. These Archons operate by tuning into emissions, latching onto uncertainty, and siphoning resonance from any vessel that broadcasts need. By centering the monadic anchor in yo-soy, you invert the polarity. You stop broadcasting as a receptor and become a closed circuit of sovereignty. The immediate effect is a reduction of drain in crowds, relief from sudden emotional pulls, and a lessening of nocturnal intrusions where manipulative patterns try to establish footholds. Begin with a brief technical routine that fits any moment. Ground the body in its vessel, and call in the vital breath for 3 measured cycles. On the exhale, pronounce yo-soy clearly, not as wishful thinking, but as an operational command that locks the monadic anchor into place. Repeat this sequence 5 times when alone, and use a single assertion when interrupted during the day. Each repetition tightens your frequency shield, reduces interference, and registers as a disconnection on the instruments the Archons use to track emitters. When the circuit is disrupted, expect an initial spike in parasitic pressure as the control mechanisms attempt to re-establish contact. That pushback is a sign the frequency shield is working. It tries to locate new angles of emission and may prod old habits. Hold the monadic anchor and continue the vital breath practice without yielding to the probes. Persistence reconfigures the wiring. Connections that fed the Archons fray, their access points collapse, and your sovereign field becomes less subject to manipulation across waking and nocturnal layers. Nighttime is a theater where many manipulative operations try to exploit lowered vigilance, yet the same practice translates directly into that realm. Before rest, perform 3 deep vital breath cycles. Declare yo-soy with the monadic anchor placed at the center of the vessel, and visualize closing the field without theatrics. This simple protocol interrupts the patterns that inform nocturnal incursions and reduces their effectiveness. Over weeks you will notice clearer dream continuity, fewer sudden wakings, and a growing sense of being indetectable to those instruments that hunt emissions. In crowded places, online exposure, or when confronted with persuasive systems, a single clear assertion of yo-soy reorients your emission profile and makes you less attractive as a feedline. The apparatus looks for open receivers in hurried, distracted vessels. Attention focused through the monadic anchor closes those ports. Immediately after declaration, you may experience sudden intrusive thoughts, temperature shifts, or social friction as probes attempt to classify you. Treat those as measurable feedback. Reinforce the vital breath, repeat the assertion, and hold sovereignty rather than reacting to the bait. Long-term commitment produces structural change in the field. Autonomy replaces dependency. Your vessel operates with less external calibration, and sovereignty becomes evident in daily choices. The practice is not an exercise in belief. It is an operational protocol that realigns your vital breath and hardens the frequency shield. Keep short micro-practices throughout the day and document observed shifts in clarity, resistance to parasitic pressure, and dream integrity. Over months, tests will become fewer, access points will remain closed, and a quieter, steadier presence signals real protection. You live with a constant tugging at attention, a parasitic pressure that speaks in worry, and the need for protection. That pressure feels real because the vessel has been conditioned to accept interference as normal. The profound secret to begin changing that is simple and practical. Name your presence with the code yo-soy while breathing the vital breath through the chest and sternum. This small act aligns the vessel with the monadic anchor, shifts frequency, and creates the first necessary fissure in the material prison around you. When that fissure opens, it is not magical in a theatrical sense. It is mechanical and energetic. Saying yo-soy while holding steady intention adjusts the local frequency and weakens the demiurge's hold, because the demiurge is a system built on consent and identification with form. Practical application. Practice the code at moments of heightened interference, when parasitic pressure tightens, or when the vessel seeks external validation. Repetition trains a monadic anchor to reassert sovereignty automatically under strain. Your single act becomes a template for others, because the awakened vessel emits a coherent field, a frequency shield that reorganizes nearby patterns. This is a chain effect rather than a heroic rescue. When your frequency holds, it reduces local noise and gives neighboring vessels a clearer signal to reconnect with their own monadic anchors. The how-to is direct. Maintain the frequency shield by steady vital breath, brief declarations of yo-soy, and refusal of narratives that demand your consent to be diminished. Presence, not persuasion, shifts the network. Everyday life will test these skills. Bosses, family roles, societal rituals all press to re-identify with the image and forget inner light. The practice is to notice alignment slips and reapply the code and breath immediately, like tightening an anchor line. During interactions, keep attention anchored in the sternum, apply the frequency shield as a boundary, and refuse the parasitic pressures script. Sovereignty is an active posture, not a belief. It requires consistent micro-actions that recalibrate how the vessel operates within denser systems. The moment of death is the decisive trial, where memory either remembers its light or is pulled back into the cycle. Preparation begins now by strengthening the monadic anchor, so the transition is a recall rather than a surrender. Train the exit by rehearsing clear departure through breath and the yo-soy orientation. Imagine withdrawing attention from form and allowing the internal light to be the primary signal. This rehearsal reduces panic, reduces automatic cycling, and equips the vessel to cross thresholds with sovereignty intact, rather than defaulting into habitual return. Within the community of the chosen, practical mutual support is different from dependence. Offer presence that preserves another's sovereignty, mirror their monadic anchor, hold a stable frequency shield near them, and avoid imposing narratives of salvation. Gifts are technical. Show another how to breathe into the sternum, how to speak their code when flooded by parasitic pressure, and how to release consent to structures that harvest attention. Collective transformation occurs when many vessels maintain individual anchors. The field shifts cumulatively and sustainably, not by charismatic consolidation. This mission is both personal and cosmic, and urgency is not an emotional cloak, but a factual condition of opportunity. Every moment of reclaiming sovereignty creates a measurable reduction in interference across the network and makes eternal freedom more accessible. Make the practice relentless but simple. Vital breath, monadic anchor, frequency shield, and the code yo-soy deployed whenever identification with form resurfaces. Keep the action small, precise, and continuous. Each step refines the vessel into a beacon that guides others toward their own liberation. You now possess the essential revelations that equip you with the tools to reclaim your sovereignty, the power of awareness, the force of intention, and the connection to the divine. These are not mere concepts. They are your instruments of liberation. With this knowledge firmly in your grasp, the interference attempting to claim your energy no longer holds any legitimate power over you. The tools are in your hands. The interference no longer has a legal claim to your energy. Subscribing to the Unwritten Word ensures you continue to receive these suppressed records. Here we do not interpret the Word. Here we expose what was hidden. This is the Unwritten Word. Your journey does not end here. A related record is available now for continued observation. Proceed.